a continuation of the coverage around the historic conviction of President Trump. And one of the things that I am noticing the most about some of the takes from the left and in the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats is that they make absolutely no damn sense. These people contradict themselves so much. They're twisting themselves into mental pretzels to try to say that, hey, if you feel like the outcome of the trial was unfair and that there's a two-tier justice system and Trump clearly is the victim of weaponization of the legal system in order to target one man, then you are a conspiracy theorist, okay? President Biden came out and said today that you are also a dangerous person if you question the outcome, if you question the integrity of that trial and whether or not it was actually fair. But at the same time, they will say, well, if it didn't happen in New York, this would not have happened. This would not have been the outcome, which would suggest that it was political, because the only reason that there would be a different outcome in a different state would have to be because of politics. That would be the main reason. Also, on top of that, what they will say is that, well, no, you don't understand. Trump is not the victim of a two-tier justice system because he's white and wealthy. It's not possible. Those people experience privilege, okay? The people that are actually really the victims of the two-tier justice system are the so-called black and brown folks. So essentially, you're acknowledging that the system can be weaponized. Now, I'm not entirely sure why is it that the system can be weaponized against millions of so-called black and brown people, right? Systemic racism, which is something that Biden is partially responsible for, but he, for whatever reason, never gets punished by the Democrat Party or the Democrat voters for this so-called systemic racism that he helped construct. But anyways, you acknowledge that the so-called systemically racist system can be unfair and target millions of so-called black and brown people. It can be weaponized. You're acknowledging that that is a possibility. But it's not possible for the legal system to be weaponized against one man who is Trump, who you say that people like him get off usually because they are white and wealthy. Now, Trump is white and wealthy, so he has those privilege stones, okay? Now, since Trump has those privilege stones and he still got convicted, what else would explain it? Because usually the white and wealthy get off, again, according to AOC. I'm trying to make the connection here, right? What else would explain Trump getting convicted or you seeing this actual justice happen unless there was some other factor? Because according to these people and their logic, well, if you're white and you're wealthy, you get away with this type of stuff. You can buy your way out of it. You got white privilege. But for whatever reason, being wealthy and white privilege didn't help out Trump in this situation. Again, why may that be? Could it be because of the political part of it, right? Could it be that maybe the political nature of this whole process overrid the white and wealthy privilege that the left claims that Trump has? I'm just saying, because if you go with leftist logic, okay, if you go with their logic, if you take their arguments at face value, it doesn't make sense for this outcome to happen unless there was some other factor, okay, that override Trump's white and wealthy privilege, okay? Because otherwise, according to leftist logic, doesn't matter if he's guilty or not, he's gonna get away with it because he's white and wealthy, right? But that didn't happen in this situation. Again, to me, it would seem like there has to be some other factor that would play into that, okay? Maybe the political angle of it. I'm just saying, this is one of the reasons why when you actually listen to these people talk and how they go out of their way and they jump through hoops to try to say, oh, it's not political, it's not rigged, but then they'll turn around in their explanation of why it's not political or why it's not a sham or why it's not rigged, they will admit that, oh yeah, it is political.
It's been my experience that when a person comes to a conclusion before the evidence indicates that conclusion is warranted, their brains turn to mush. Their brains tend to do that because of the constant backpedaling and mental gymnastics they must do to continue to support their ill-gotten conclusion. And what comes out of their mouths is a jumbled up mess of poorly understood concepts, badly formulated foundations, which leads to general incohesion. I had to watch this speaker speak several times to see if I can steelman his points. Here's what I came up with. Now, I could be wrong about this, but what I think he's saying is that the same people who espouse a two-tier justice system against black and brown people won't acknowledge that the same system is targeting Donald Trump. The evidence of that, according to him, is that people like AOC say that rich white men like Donald Trump don't get convicted. Therefore, since he got convicted and the speaker can't figure out what else it could be, indicates it was political. The problem with this take is it's foundationally based on a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings, and misappropriations. First, let's start with the two-tiered justice system, the same system I refer to as a system of white supremacy. This system does exist and can be proven to exist. Where I think the speaker is going wrong, and where a lot of people who share his view go wrong, is they think if a black person is successful or if a rich white man is convicted, that the system somehow doesn't exist. This is one of the many badly formulated foundations. In reality, the system affects populations that have a long history of being targeted because of the color of their skin. The system shows up when answering questions like, in America, who is more likely to be poor, or live in poor areas, or be affected by crime, or be sentenced for longer for the same crimes? Now, in theory, you shouldn't be able to answer that if everything was equal amongst the population. In practice, however, the answer is black or brown people. On the flip side, when the question is posed in America, who is more likely to be wealthy or live in wealthy areas or be less likely to be affected by crime or be sentenced shorter for equal crimes? Again, in theory, if everything was equal amongst the population, you wouldn't be confident in your answer. In practice, we are all confident in the answer of white people. These answers are clear and backed up by data. This is what we refer to as white privilege. This data-backed observation doesn't guarantee that because you are white, your privilege is like a privilege stone, as he belligerently put it, and gets you out of everything you got yourself into. What's really wild is it seems that the speaker is suggesting that Donald Trump is a victim of the same system. Really, Donald Trump, the guy who paid a $25 million settlement for defrauding students of Trump University? Or how about the millions he paid in settlements for the Trump Foundation because he was accused of using charitable funds for personal and political expenses? Is it all possible in the world that you live in that Trump got convicted because Trump was doing illegal shit? Did that cross your mind at all? I mean, maybe, just maybe, this guy is actually doing illegal shit? Something to think about.